So let's see, what are our phrasal verbs? So number one is, let's see, number one is to get to know someone. Number two is to bump into someone. Number three is to fall out with someone. Number four is to make up with someone. And number five is to look up to someone. And then below that, you've got the 5 definitions. So all you've got to do is match the 5 numbers to the 5 letters that have their definitions. All right, we've got one answer. And our first answer is from Francis. Then we've got one from Ruby. So let's see about Francis. So Francis says 1E. So she says, to get to know someone means to spend time with someone so that you gradually get to know them. Yes, okay, that's a pretty easy one. What about number 2? She says to see. So number 2 is to bump into someone. She says that means to meet someone you know when you haven't planned to meet them. Very good. That's right as well. Well done, Francis. So far, so good. She says it's number 3A. So number 3 is to fall out with someone, and she thinks that that means to argue with someone and stop being friends with them. Exactly. Well done, Francis. Good job. And number 4, she says that, let's see. No. I lost Francis. No. She says 4D. So let's have a look. And number 4 is to make up with someone. And she says that that is to forgive someone and become friends with them again after an argument. That is correct. Well done. Good job. So that means obviously your last one is right as well. So she says it's 5B. So to look up to someone, that is to admire and respect someone. To admire and respect someone. Well done, Francis. Good job. Very fast and very accurate. Good job. Let's see. Did everybody else get them right? Ruby, let's see. A3B1. No, some mistakes. Julia, A1E, 2C, yeah, 3A, yeah, 4D, 5. Yeah, well done, Julia. Well done. Some other people. I think that's Melissa, 1E, 2C, 3A, 4D. Yeah, that looks right. Well done, Melissa. And Sherry, 1E, 2C, 3A, good, 4D, 5B. Well done, Sherry. Okay, well done. Okay, so most people got them right. Well done, guys. But the first person to get them right was Francis. So Francis, if you want to be the first student to answer these part 1 questions, you can put up your hand now and I'll turn on your microphone. Okay. So as I said, our part 1 questions today are all about meeting new people. Okay, Francis is here already. Go. Hello, Francis.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. Yeah, very good. Okay. All right, Francis, some questions for you about meeting new people. So
Okay.
do you like meeting new people?
Yes, I do like meeting new people, especially at the beginning of the semester, because I like to make friends with different people. In that way, I can expose to different kind of opinions. That's why I like meeting new people.
Mm-hmm, cool. Do you often meet new people?
Not really. Since I was a student, I got a lot of opportunities to meet other classmates. But after I graduated from the college, and nowadays I need to prepare for my postgraduate studies, so I hardly ever have the chance to meet with anyone else. I just stay at home to work on my business.
Can you tell whether you like someone when you meet them for the first time?
First, I want to make it clear that I don't like to judge anybody from their appearance, but it is true that sometimes the first impression is very important. And if you wear in neat manner and talk in a good, you show you're gentle. I would like to see the first time I met you, I feel good to you.
Okay, cool. Just give me one. You got one more question, Francis. I'm just making a note here. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. And the last one is it easy to meet new people in the place where you live?
Actually, it is not, because I live in Wenzhou. It is a second-tier city, and we grew up in a small circle where a lot of us are acquaintances since we were young. So we didn't have much chance to meet with another people, unlike in my university. When I was in university, it is in Beijing, I have a lot of opportunity to meet with people all over the world. So I think in where I live, I don't have much chance to meet with new people.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Francis. Okay, pretty good. So very good pronunciation, Francis. There was maybe one or two little pronunciation mistakes, but generally your pronunciation was very good and your fluency was very good. And you gave quite complete answers to all the questions, so you gave enough details in your answers. And let's see, there's a few things I can help you with though. Let's see. So in your answer to question one, so what was question one? Question one was, do you like meeting new people? And so in one part of your answer there, you said, I can expose to different kinds of people. I can expose. So it's not I can expose, it's something else. Do you know? How could you say that another way?
I am exposed to.
Good, yeah, it's to be exposed to, be exposed to something. Yeah, good, okay. But probably, so that would be grammatically correct. That would be grammatically fine. And what a native speaker would probably say simply is, I can meet lots of different new people. Being exposed to, that's very formal. We probably wouldn't say that, but we'd be more like to say, I can meet lots of new people.
If I can,
let's say you wanted to paraphrase that. Let's say you already said meet in your answer and you wanted to use another word. You could probably say, I can get to know lots of different new people.
Know? Oh, yes,
yeah.
Get to know. Okay.
Or
if is that right? I am exposed to different opinions from different people.
Yeah, that's more natural. Yeah, to be exposed to an opinion is more natural than to be exposed to a person. So that would be better. Yeah. Okay. And let's see. Then in your second answer, you said, since I was a student, something. Since I was a student, I think it was, I got a chance to meet new people or something like that. So I don't. That doesn't really make sense. Since I was a student, I guess because you're not a student now, right? You're not a student anymore.
Yes.
So I guess what you mean is when I was a student.
Yes, when I was a student.
Yeah, that would make more sense. Yeah. And
actually,
then
I have a question. Because I don't know how to answer. Are you work or are you still a student? Because now I'm in a gap.
The question is, do you work or are you still a student?
Do you work or are you a student? Because now I'm in a gap. I am planning for my postgraduate studies, so I don't know how to answer this question.
Right. And so what? So let's see what. So I think it's pretty easy, really. What would you say in Chinese if somebody asked you, 你工作吗？你工作还是学生？
我不工作，我准备。
Yep. 你说。
Yeah. In Chinese or in English?
In Chinese.
我还不着急工作，我正在准备读研。
Okay. So you don't know how to say that in English?
I just say, well, I'm not going to work. I'm planning for my postgraduate study. So I don't know. In that case, can I say I'm still a student?
You wouldn't. No, just tell the truth. So you're not a student at the moment. You're not a student. So just tell the truth. And you could say, well, I've finished my degree. You could say that I finished my degree, and I'm getting ready to do, what is it, a master's, I guess. Is that what you're doing?
Get ready to. Okay. Thank you.
I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. No, I'm ready.
I'm
getting ready.
I'm getting ready to mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you could say I'm getting ready to do postgraduate studies, but again, that's not what we would say. That's not what a native speaker would usually say. We would usually say, if it's a master's, we would say I'm getting ready to do a master's. If it's a PhD, we'd say I'm getting ready to do a PhD. But for you, I guess it's probably a master's if you just finished. Yeah. So what we would usually say is I'm getting ready to do a master's. Okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's look at the third question. The question was, can you tell whether you like someone when you meet them for the first time? The beginning of your answer here was a bit unusual, Francis. You said, first, I want to make it clear that what was it? I can't remember what you said. First, I want to make it clear that something I don't judge people by their clothes or something like that. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I don't want to make judgment on people's appearance.
Okay, so this doesn't really sound like something that somebody would say in a normal conversation. It sounds like the start of a speech. You know, if you were making a speech on TV, if you were a politician and you were making a speech, you might say, first, I want to make it clear that I never judge people by their clothing or by their appearance or whatever. That's what it sounds. It doesn't sound at all like a one-to-one conversation, like something that would just naturally come up in a one-to-one conversation. And so I don't know. Had you practiced this question before or something, or?
No, I just improvise this now because I think it is wrong. First, I need to make it clear that I don't want to say that I like to tell whether I like one person from the first time. I don't want to make it so for sure. But in all, my attitude is positive to this question.
Yeah, I think right. Let's say I think you should probably say something like, generally, I try not to judge people by their their clothing or their appearance or whatever. Let's say their clothing. Generally, I try not to judge people by their clothing. Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Generally, I try not to. Okay, thank you.
All right. And in the same answer, you said something like, if you wear in a, I think you said, if you wear in a neat manner. If you wear in a neat manner or something like that. And so, no, you can't just use the verb wear like that. And the verb wear always goes with, as far as I can imagine, or as far as I can think of, it always goes with a noun. So it's always wear something, wear a jacket, wear trousers, wear something. And so I guess what you mean there is probably if you wear nice clothes. If you wear nice clothes.
If you wear nice clothes.
Yeah, okay. And I think then you said if you show your genteel or something like that. If you show your genteel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no.
Actually, I want to say act genteel.
What? If
you act genteel, is that correct?
Genteel. Right. We'd usually pronounce that word gentle. Gentle.
Gentle.
Okay. Yeah. If you act gentle. But I'm still not clear about what idea you're trying to express there. So, what do you mean? If you act what? Like?
If you act like a gentleman or lady.
Oh, okay.
In a good manner.
Okay.
Because
if you act well, if you behave well, or if you behave politely, I think that would be best. If you behave politely, if you behave well.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. In the last question, so you had a little bit of a pronunciation mistake in the last question. So you said about Wenzhou. And so this, you said it's this kind of place. So how would you say that?
Second tier city.
And so it should be second tier.
Oh, second tier city.
Yeah.
City. Oh my. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so so tier. It's the same sound as like what comes from your eye.
Yes, second tier.
So it's the same sound, just different spelling. So second tier city.
Second tier city. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And then just the last thing is just about the logic of your answer. So basically, in the last question, the question was, is it easy to meet new people in the place where you live? And you said basically no, because now you live in Wenzhou, whereas before you lived in Beijing, and when you were in Beijing, it was much easier. But it doesn't really make sense, because like there's lots of people in Wenzhou. There's so many people. There's millions of people in Wenzhou. Why is it difficult to meet people in Wenzhou? You didn't really explain that to my satisfaction. You didn't make me understand that.
I say because we we live in a small circle. I don't know how to say small community, or I mean every day we just met the acquaintance we have made when we were a child.
Okay. So I think that probably has more to do with being in university versus like now where you're not in university and you're not working or anything. So I think it probably doesn't have anything to do with Wenzhou or Beijing. Probably if you were in university in Wenzhou, you would meet lots of people just like you did in Beijing because you were in university. I don't think it's got to do with the two cities.
So in the question, it asked in the place where you live, it means a small place or a big place like hometown or something else?
It probably refers to your home, to the city. Yeah, to the city.
To the city.
To the city where you're living, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I got it.
All right, thanks, Francis. Okay, thank you. All right, cool. Okay, let us move on, and I'm going to pick a random person. And so we got 4 people in. I'm going to pick a random number, and the number is 3. So our next student today is Ruby.
Hi, John.
Hello again, Ruby. Hi. Okay, so let's begin with first question. Do you like meeting new people?
Yeah, I'm always be willing to meet new people. Well, I can get to know different characteristic of new people, and maybe sometimes if I make an acquaintance with new people, I can just get to know a different field with what I'm studying, and maybe sometimes I can just have some interesting story with them.
Do you often meet new people?
Not really, since I'm now studying at home, but last week I just went out to see a musical in the theater, and I got to know a girl just sit next to me, and I had a chit chat with her. So I guess it is the chance I made a new people.
Okay. 1 second, Ruby, just give me a second.
Okay.
Can you tell whether you like someone when you meet them for the first time?
Exactly. I don't really tell someone if I'm not interested in he or her. I mean, if I'm interested in someone.
Let's try this question again, Ruby. Can you tell whether you like someone when you meet them for the first time?
Sometimes I will tell them. I mean, if I meet someone I really like her, I will just go on have a conversation with her. But if I don't like someone, I wouldn't go on to just have a chit chat with her anymore.
Thanks, Ruby. Thanks. Okay, Ruby. So the first 2 answers there were not bad. They were pretty good. The third one, I think you didn't understand the question. Look at the question, right? I've sent the question into the message box there. Look at the question and read it. Read the question out loud for me.
Okay.
Number 3.
I read.
Read it, yeah, out loud.
Can you tell whether you like someone when you first meet them for the first time?
Yeah, when you meet them for the first time. So now translate that sentence for me. Translate that question. Translate that into Chinese, please.
你会告诉一个人，当你第一次见，你会说你第一次见一个人的时候，你是否喜欢他们吗？
No, can you tell whether? Can you tell whether? 就是你会知道，你会不会知道? So basically, let me try and translate the question. So, can you tell whether you like? So 第一次认识一个新的人，你会不会知道你喜欢那个人吗？你会不会知道你喜欢那个人？ Does that make sense? So can you tell whether is completely different from what you're saying is like what you think the question means is, would you tell someone if you liked them when you met them? Would you tell someone whether or not you liked them when you met them? But it's got nothing to do with 告诉那个人. Can you tell means it means like can you know Can you know? Do you know?
怎么知道自己对他们第一印象好不好？
不是怎么知道，就是你通常会知道吗？
对，你是否会知道你对一个人的第一印象好不好？
Yeah, say that again. Say that again. 你再说一遍。
你是否知道你对一个人的第一印象好不好？
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, there we've got it. Yes, yes. Okay. So you kind of missed the point of that question. Okay. So let's see. Let's talk about the first two. For your first two answers. So in the first one, just in your first sentence, there was a little grammar mistake. You said, "I'm always be willing to." I think it was, "I'm always be willing to." I don't get to know new people.
No be, just
exactly.
I'm always willing to.
Exactly. Good. Okay. And you said, "If I make an acquaintance with new people." If I make an acquaintance with new people.
Yeah.
I think you might actually. I think you said, "If I make an." Oh yeah, it was, "If I make an acquaintance with a new people," or something like that. So it should be with new people. But also, again, that's another kind of expression that we would very rarely use in spoken English, just in this kind of a simple question. So there's nothing wrong with saying, "If I meet new people." There's nothing wrong with it. I know that's what the question says, but in your answer, it's still fine to use that expression. It's still fine to say, "If I meet new people," if I meet a new person. There's nothing wrong with using that in your answer. You don't have to think of 7 different ways to substitute the verb meet. The verb meet is the word that we use so much. Native speakers use it all the time. So there's no need to try and find lots of different, less common ways to express that. Right? And the last thing, in your second answer, so Ruby is one of the students in our group classes. In our group class， 所以我们在 learn with John， 就是我每一个礼拜也做小组课，小组准备雅思口语的课。然后 Ruby 就是我们的学生之一。然后 Ruby， 你昨天给我发作业不是吗？
是的。
然后我今天早上就是听了你给我发的作业的语音，然后修改了一些你的错误，不是吗？你还没有听了吗？
还没有听，我打算没听。
你应该听，因为我今天早上纠正了一个错误，就是我上个礼拜，好像是上个礼拜五也纠正了同样的一个错误，就是 chit chat， 就是动词 ，chit chat 是动词，不是名词，所以我们不可以 have a chit chat。你的意思是 to have a chat，to have a chat with someone. We can't say to have a chit chat with someone. We can just say to have a chat with someone. All right. Okay. Okay, that's it for you, Ruby. All right, thank you. Okay. And cool. So let me do one more question for here. Or one more student, and we'll go with number 3 again. And so this is Alina. Hello, Alina.
Yeah.
Hi. Cool. Okay. So Alina, do you like meeting new people?
To be honest, I'm an introvert person, and I don't like meeting new people, cause I think people have different things to do, and on one hand, I feel that if I make an invitation to meet new people, that would bother them if they are studying or doing their business. And another thing, and on the other hand, that is my own personality doesn't like meeting new people because that would make me feel unsafe.
Okay. Do you often meet new people?
Well, I do not often meet new people. Compared with meeting new people, I prefer I prefer texting people or making the voice call, and also contact with my old friends. I think this can make me safer and happier. Also, we have so many things, so many studies needs to be done. So I think meeting new people is kind of like wasting time.
Okay. And is it easy to meet new people in the place where you live?
Yes, I have to say that actually it's quite easy to meet new people, especially in a city like Xi'an, which is the main city of Shanxi which is the capital city of Shanxi province. We have around me, we have so many groups, like reading groups, and in my community, and also we have English Corner, and also other places and other groups which we can meet new people. It's quite easy.
Thank you. Okay, very good, very good. Well done. Right.
Thank you.
Good job, Elena. Okay, so very good answer there to the last question, especially. So I asked you 3 questions. They were all good answers. So in each of your questions, you had some good sentences. Each of your questions, you gave complete answers and logical answers. You didn't make any logical mistakes or anything. It all made sense. And you had some good sentences in all of them, especially the last one. The last one was really good. Okay, so I'm just going to give you 2 corrections. One is from the first one, a small little misuse of a word. So you said, I'm an introvert person. I'm an introvert person. So introvert is it's a noun.
I'm introvert. I am an introvert.
Yes, that's right. I am an introvert. I am an introvert. Good. Does anybody know what is the adjective? How do you make that word an adjective? Do you know, Alina, or does anybody know?
Introverted.
Yes, introverted. Yeah, Lexi has the idea. Julia has it. Yeah. So you can say I am introverted, or you can say I am an introvert. I am introverted, or I am an introvert. Either of those would be okay. Let's see. And then in your second one, you said something about contact with my old friends. Something like I can contact with my old friends. Any idea what's wrong there?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Does anybody know? I think I've told you about this before in other ones of these Drupals. So Ruby says not with. Lexi saying contact with. Yeah. So.
Connect some of my connect. Is that connect?
You could say connect with. That's okay. Connect with, but it's not contact with. So it's just you could say I can contact my old friends. You could say I can. So Vera has a good idea. I can keep in contact with. That's good, Vera. Well done. That's right. Or you can say I can stay in contact with, or keep in contact with, or just I can contact my old friends. You can't say I can contact with my old friends. You could say I can keep in contact with, get in let's say 你很久没有跟他们联系，你可以说我过了很长时间以后就再 get in contact with them, and then after you've gotten in contact with them, you can keep in contact with them or stay in contact with them, or you can connect with them, but you can't just contact with them. Is that clear? Okay, yeah. Cool. And Ruby has a good idea as well. Keep in touch with. That's a good one as well. Okay, so that was all for you, Alina. Well done. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. All right,所以我们马上就要开始 Part 2， 然后开始 Part 2之前，我们还有一个挑战，我要给大家做。然后我也要提醒大家，如果你还没有下载了，我们刚刚出版的那个考官约翰雅思 Part 2雅思口语 Part 2画本，你就可以在这边就在那个小书包里，所以那个课程有25个2分钟的语言，每个语言就是一个 Part 2的回答，就是最近上个月出版的 Part 2话题，我 录制自己回答所有那些话题，然后我们把所有那些录音变成一个产品，然后每个语言都有文本，所以你可以边听边读。然后我的意见就是每一天专门学习一个，然后每天也可以听很多，因为一共只要50分钟的语言，所以你可以每天听全部25个，但是应该每天专门学习一个。然后如何学习，就是从每一个回答找出一些你觉得你以后会用的英语表述，比如说5个到10个，也许最多15个你觉得好用的，你以后会有机会用的，或者你之前听过但是不太理解的英语表述。每天从一个回答找出那些好用的，你要特别学习的表述，然后把它们变成暗记单词卡，然后用暗记来复习那些表述。All right, so let's move on to our second competition, our second challenge. So for this one, let me see. Okay, for this one, we've got a sentence, and the sentence has 2 mistakes. So this sentence has 2 mistakes. I'm going to send you the sentence. You guys have to find the mistakes. So here it is. My grandfather looks like 40 years old because he exercises his body every day. 所以那句话有2个错。你们要做的就是找出那2个错误，然后给我写一个表达同样的意思的没有错误的英语句子，所以你要把整个句子写出来。Okay, we've got our first answer. Looks like 40. Okay, so Ruby found 1 mistake, but you didn't find the 2. Let's see. Elena found 1 mistake, but not the 2. So there's 2 mistakes. 那一句话原来有2个错误。Lydia, let's see, Miss Lydia. Too many answers. Huh? All right, Lydia. Lydia, no. She got 1 mistake. Okay, but then we've got, I think that's is that Melissa? Her name is something about 我家的狗。为什么不喜欢我？ So, but anyway, whoever this person is, you're right. That's good. So my grandfather looks like a 40-year-old because he exercises every day. So very good, well done. So first she got that it's a 40-year-old. It's not a 40 years old. It's a 40-year-old. So there's no S. It's just like for a 40. Like for example, a 7-year-old boy. A 7-year-old. It's not a 7 years old boy. A lot of students say a 7 years old boy. And it's like it's not an 85 years old woman. It's just an 85-year-old woman. And here in this sentence, it's a 40-year-old man, not a 40 years old man. And so again, my grandfather looks like a 40-year-old because he exercises every day. Very good. Not he exercises his body every day. We don't say I exercise my body. We just say I exercise. So he exercises every day. Well done, whoever this person is. And so you can be the first one. I think it's Melissa. So you can be the first one to answer part 2. And I'm going to send you guys the part 2 topics now. And Melissa, you can choose whichever one you want to. You don't have to answer the first one. You can choose the second one if you want to. So here are our 2 topics. So our first one is describe someone you know who is very energetic. And then the second one is describe a job that you would like to do in a foreign country for a short time. So describe someone you know who is very energetic. Number 2, describe a job that you would like to do in a foreign country for a short time. 所以人人都要准备一个，不要准备2个，因为每个人我会尽量给每一个学生回答其中一个话题的机会，所以要准备一个。你有1分钟准备的时间现在开始。 Okay, 1 minute is up. Your time is up. So our first topic is describe someone you know who is very energetic. So if you want to answer this one, if you prepared this one, put up your hand now. Okay, we've got a bunch of people already. Cool. So let's see. Okay, Melissa doesn't want to answer this one. She wants to do the next one. That's okay. Okay, so I'm going to pick a random number. All right. And this time it's number 1. Just turning on your microphone, Don. Sorry, it takes some time. It takes a while sometimes. Oh, it says you refused it. So I'll try again, but... No, okay, I can't get through to... I can't... Oh, Don, here you are. Hello, Don.
Hello. Hello,
Hi.
John.
Hi.
Actually, I had prepared the second job.
Okay, all right. So put your hand, when we go to the second one, put your hand up again, and I'll get you that time, okay?
So I stop now.
And no, I just want to do the first one now, so I'll get another student. When we do the second one, put your hand up again, and I'll get you that time. So let's see. So this time, let's start with Alina this time.
Hi, John.
Hi, Alina. So, all right. So you've got to talk about a person who you know who is very energetic. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Yes. When I was at high school, I met my best friend who is called Julia, and she was a girl who likes science very much, and especially she was really good at physics. And every time when we're in physics classes, she's very she paid much attention on the classes, and answered the teacher's questions quite. I don't know how to say that. And she really good. She is really good at physics. And also she's really creative and innovative, and she uses every day 24 hours and 7 days to study, especially study physics and other science studies. That makes me feel that she's really hardworking, and also she likes to do lots of experiments that makes me and research that makes me think she kind of like probably a mini scientist or so. So
Thank you, Alina. Thank you. Okay, cool. Right, so well done. You went for over 1 minute and 40 seconds there until I stopped you. And so, okay, so some good things and some bad things about your answer. So you spoke pretty fluently there, Alina. Your pronunciation was pretty good. You had some good sentences. In terms of the language, your answer was pretty good. About the logic of your answer, I don't think you really explained why this person is very energetic. It seemed like you were describing a person who's very studious, maybe very hardworking, a really good student, somebody who's really interested in science. But I don't get
Yeah.
She didn't really sound extremely energetic. She just sounds like somebody who studies a lot.
Yeah.
So, let's both of us try and think of some things that really energetic people do. So, for example, really energetic people, they usually move around a lot. Okay, they usually don't sit down very much. They usually move around a lot, right? That's one thing that really energetic people do. Can you think of anything else that energetic people do?
They like to do sports and talk a lot, and they can light up the room. I think.
Very good. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So definitely they probably do a lot of sports and exercise. They probably talk a lot. They probably have a lot of friends. They probably go out. They probably like go out at night and do social things. They probably speak with a lot of energy. Like energetic people speak with their whole bodies, not just their mouth. They move their whole bodies, and they're very expressive and things like that. So those are all things that energetic, but maybe they don't. I was going to say maybe they don't sleep so much, but actually they probably do sleep as much as anybody else. Anyway, they usually do a lot of things, and they do those things with a lot of energy. They speak with a lot of energy. They move with a lot of energy, and they move a lot, and they don't get tired easily. And they do maybe they do a lot of work, but they do their work with lots of energy and stuff. So so that's probably so maybe your friend, maybe the friend you talked about is a very energetic person, but you would have to give some examples of how she's actually an energetic person, not just a good student. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool. Right. Okay. Let's see. There was one sentence here where you had a couple of mistakes. So this one, you said she paid much attention on the classes. She paid much attention on the classes. So there's two mistakes there, Elena. Do you want to try that sentence again, or maybe you guys at home? Maybe you guys at home can have a try at fixing that sentence.
Sorry. Last time I thought I made this mistake, which I should say pay lots of attention, not pay much attention.
Very good.
This
Okay.
is, not a negative sentence.
Yes, it's not a negative. Yes, it's a simple positive sentence. Good. So to pay a lot of attention, but there's still another mistake. So it's not pay a lot of attention on her classes.
Paid attention to. Pay attention to. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So she paid a lot of attention to her classes. Somebody's asking me to send the questions again, so just give me 1 second, and I'll send these part 2 questions again. Sorry. There you go. Okay. And then there was one word that you couldn't think of. So do you remember what that word is? So she said she answered the teacher's questions quite, and then you didn't know how to say that. So do you remember what you were trying to say?
我想说积极的,
Okay,
but I don't know how
but
to
does
say
anybody know?
it. I forgot.
Well, there's a few ways you could say that. Does anybody know? Well, if you look it up in the dictionary, it'll be active, but you can't really answer a question actively. That doesn't make sense. You can't really know. Same with positive. You can't really answer a question positively. So there's a couple of ways you could say this. So one is maybe she answered the teacher's questions thoroughly, but that's not really Gigi. That's kind of a different thing. But it's still one thing you could say. She answered the questions thoroughly. But I think probably what you mean is she was always very eager to answer the teacher's questions.
Yeah, that's it. Eager to answer the questions.
Yeah, so it's kind of works out differently in English. Okay, right, and then the last thing. You said experiments and researches. So first of all, experiments. You didn't pronounce that correctly. I can't remember what you said, but it wasn't quite right. So the pronunciation is experiment.
Experiments.
That's better. Okay, yeah, that sounds a bit better. Experiments. And then the other thing is researches. That's not a word.
Research.
There's no such thing as researches.
Doing the research.
So it's just research. So it's uncountable. Research is uncomfortable. So experiments and research. She does a lot of experiments and research to do research. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for you, Alina. Thank you. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. Okay. I'm going to go to another student now, and I'll do student number 3. And hello.
Hello.
Hi. What's your name? Jack. Okay. Hi, Jack. Okay. Cool. All right, Jack. So same topic for you, and remember you have 1 to 2 minutes for this. Don't worry if I stop you.
And which topic?
It's okay, Jack. You should have prepared this already. So Jack, 我们现在做的就是第一个，那就是 a person who is very energetic. 但是如果你刚刚进入这个课，那就意味着你还没有准备了，所以你最好就准备一下第二个话题，就是 a job that you would like to do in a foreign country in a short time. 然后我们开始练习那个第二个话题的时候，你可以再注册一下。So let me go to Julia.
Hi.
Hi, Julia. Okay. So you have prepared this topic about an energetic person, yeah?
Yeah, I would like to talk about my boyfriend's mother. She is over 50 years old, but she is still very energetic. She does exercises perhaps every day, and she specializes in gynecological oncology. So as her work is to deal with patients, she always need to and sometimes she do operations, so there's a really need doctors to be energetic. She often spend her time on climbing mountains, and she always that is very healthy and always be that a little bit talkative. And I feel that she is quite energetic, and perhaps in the future I would like to be a woman just similar to her, because although she is over 50 years old, but she still looks young, and she is quite in good shape. I feel that her self-discipline is what I admire her most. These days, a few days ago, my boyfriend encountered with an accident, and his parents come to see us and help to look after him. And I think his mother is the.
Thank you, Julia. Okay, good. All right, so you got to almost 2 minutes there, and I think you could have kept going. So, well done for keeping going. And so yeah, your example is a better example of somebody who's energetic. So you explain how she does a lot of exercise, how she goes mountain climbing, hiking in the mountains, how her job requires her to spend a lot of energy, and she has to be energetic in her work. So it's a good idea. The person who you talked about sounds like a very energetic person, so that was good. You had some good sentences, you had some good vocabulary, for example, self-discipline, very good. I don't often hear students say that, but that's an important word that every student should know. So well done. And so that's a good word. Just that sentence, you didn't quite get that sentence out correctly. So you said, her self-discipline is what I admire her most. And so what you probably mean is her self-discipline is the thing that I admire most about her.
Okay.
Okay, something like that. Let's see. So so basically you said 她每天都锻炼身体. But which one is it, Julia? Do you think it's because it's only one of these is really right? Is it she does exercise every day, or she does exercises every day?
She does exercises every day.
No, sorry, that's not quite right. It's she does exercise. She does exercise every day. So this is a bit complicated because the word exercise, it can be countable sometimes, it can be countable, and then other times it's uncountable. When we're talking about, for example, 我做运动，我锻炼身体，他锻炼身体，他健身, that is to do exercise, to do exercise. So I like to do exercise, or just I like to exercise. It's not I like to do exercises. It's just I like to exercise, or I like to do exercise. And it's a bit complicated because all those, like if you, let's say you go to the gym, right? Let's say I go to the gym tomorrow and I do, let's say I do push-ups, and I do sit-ups, and I do pull-ups. So there I could say I went to the gym to exercise. I did some exercise. I went to the gym to exercise, or I went to the gym to do some exercise. The complicated thing is all those three things that I did, so the push-ups, the sit-ups, the pull-ups, they're all exercises. They're all exercises. So I did 3 different exercises. But when we're talking generally about 锻炼身体, 健身, 做运动, that is to do exercise. We don't say to do exercises. We say to do exercise. But then the actual 我们锻炼身体的时候做的那些单独的动作，他们就是 exercises. OK， 所以我理解为什么很多学生对这个区别很搞混，但是你要记住的就是，如果你说我喜欢锻炼身体，或者我的朋友每天都锻炼身体，那就是 I exercise, or I do exercise, or he exercises, or he does exercise, and it's not he does exercises or I do exercises. Can you kind of understand that now, Julia?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So that's the main thing. Francis has a question, and so Francis says, "What about sport and sports?" So that's kind of a separate, in English, that's kind of a separate thing. So in general, all sports are exercises, but not all exercises are sports. And so anyway, if you're talking about sport, you can say to play sport or to do sport, to play sport or to do sport. But it's not the same as exercise, because some things are exercises, but they're not sports. For example, yoga, it's an exercise, it's not a sport. And Tai Chi, it's an exercise, it's not a sport. And jogging, it's an exercise, it's not a sport. Stretching, it's kind of an exercise, it's not a sport. And so just remember that they're not the same thing. A sport is like some kind of a match where there's a referee and there's maybe 2 teams, or there's 2 competitors and they're trying to win. So that's the difference between the 2. Okay, right. So let's see. Anyway, back to you, Julia. So let's see. So then one more sentence where you had a bit of a problem. You said, she often spends her time on climbing mountains. She often spends her time on climbing mountains. So there's 2 mistakes there. Can you find either of those mistakes?
She often climbs mountains.
Okay, good. Now, what if you wanted to say, 她经常花费她的时间爬山 or 登山 or whatever.
She often spends her time. She often spends time on mountain climbing.
Okay, that's a bit better, right? So right, what you originally said was she often spends her time, and you corrected it there. So yes, she often spends. She often spends her time, and so you could say she often spends her time climbing mountains. You could say she often spends her time on mountain climbing. That would be okay as well. You can say she often spends her time on climbing mountains. So it's it's spends time plus a verb, So it's like that, spend time. So for example, spend time climbing, spend time doing, spend time eating, spend time sitting, spend time sleeping. There shouldn't be an on there. But then you could say, if you've got a noun, you could say spend time on that. So you could say, for example, spend time on mountain climbing, spend time on homework, spend time on mathematics, spend time on a project, anything like that. So if it's a verb, then it's no on, but you've got to add an ing. And if it's a noun, then you can use on, right? So again, to go back to the original example, spend time climbing mountains. Spend time climbing mountains. You could say spend time on mountain climbing. That would be okay as well. Okay. All right, Julia, that was all the main points for you. Thank you. Cool. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do one more student for this topic, and then I'm going to go to the next topic, to topic number 2. And so let's see. Let's try Alex this time. So, yeah, sorry, Alex, I'm turning on your microphone, but it just takes a little bit of time. I think it's on now. Hello, Alex.
Hi.
Hi, okay, Alex, so the same topic for you, and a person you know who is energetic, you can start speaking now, please.
Okay, so the person I want to share with you is one of my bosom friends. I remember the first time I met her was actually in the junior high school. At that time, she was one of my classmates, and until we get to know each other quite well, I found that she is very energetic and optimistic. I mean, you know, even though we have a lot of homework and assignments to pull it off, she could always be optimistic. And after examinations or at a other thing like that, she could always come up with a good idea, like go shopping or just do something to relax. And I think it's a very good, personality trait, because it just delight me and cheer me up in some aspects. Because I usually tied up with my work and study, and be with her and with her accompany, I think I really feel the same way as she felt, like always be energetic and to be optimistic about everything. Yeah, and that's...
All right, Alex. Okay, so that was just like 1 minute and 20 seconds. So that wasn't long enough. You need to talk for much longer. So you have to go on. You have to try and go on for 2 minutes in the real exam. You've got to practice. So as you're preparing for the exam, you've got to practice speaking for at least 2 minutes or longer. And then in the exam, you've got to speak for 2 minutes and wait until the examiner says thank you, and then that means you can stop. But keep speaking, don't stop. Anyway, so but just for today, that's enough. Okay. All right. Okay, Alex. So it's kind of weird. It's like almost every second sentence. It's like one sentence you say is really good, and then the next sentence is not good. The next sentence has a lot of problems. And then the next sentence is really good. And then the next sentence has a lot of problems. And then the next sentence is really good. It's almost every second sentence. So it's kind of weird. So your pronunciation is pretty good. The delivery of the sentences, the sounds of the sentences, it sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty natural. Fluency, pretty good, but then you stopped after 80 seconds, so that's going to affect your fluency. Like if this was a real exam, that would kind of affect your score for fluency. So some good things, but some bad things. So you've got a lot of vocabulary that you don't know exactly what it means. You're misusing a lot of vocabulary, and you're saying a lot of things in a very complicated way when you should be saying them in a very simple way. And I'm going to give you an example in your first sentence.
Okay.
So the first sentence, I think the person I want to share with you is one of my, and then do you remember what it said, one of my something friends?
One of my bosom friends?
What?
Can I say that?
Oh, that's like, oh no, that's so terrible. Oh, that just, sorry, Alex. That just sounds so weird. I'm sure you've learned that from a Chinese teacher of English. I'm 100% sure of that. Or you've learned that from another Chinese person. Okay, right. Whoever the person who taught you this, or wherever you learned this from, never listen to that person give you advice about English again. Okay? We wouldn't. I think I've heard that expression about 10 times in my life, and it's always from Chinese IELTS candidates. A bosom friend. It's just a ridiculous. Never go back to that person and learn anything that they tell you about English again, because that just sounds so weird in English. It sounds kind of sexual and just off-putting. It's just we would never say that. So how do you think, Alex? How do you think a native English speaker might express the idea of how pangyo? Nigger ensure what a how pangyo?
I mean, maybe just very simple word like good friend, best friend, close
friend. A good friend, exactly, a good friend. This person is my good friend. A close friend, thank you, Julia. Francis, good. Close friend, very good. This is what native speakers say. So always try and imitate native speakers. And don't try and use words that are like better than native speakers would use. Just try and use the exact words that native speakers would use. And if we were talking about, like for example, if we wanted to express the idea of that is just a good friend or a close friend. Alice is saying a bestie. No, stop, Alice. That's not good either. That's like a word. It's okay. It's better than bosom friend, but it's still a weird word. It's like a word that maybe 10 years ago a teenage girl in California would use that word, but most people wouldn't use that word. So a good friend, close friend, those are the words native speakers use all the time. Okay, so that's one example. And let's see. So another time he said, we have a lot of homework and assignments to pull it off. We have a lot of homework and assignments to pull it off. So you're not using that expression correctly. Again, do you think there's a simpler way you could say that? For example, 我们有很多作业要做. How do you think you might be able to say that?
Maybe I should just say something to put off, not edit it.
So what do you mean? Because I thought you said pull off, and now you're saying put off, and they're two completely different things. So
pull off.
So 你想说如果你必须用中文表达这个意思，你会说
完成。
Okay, 所以我们有很多作业要完成。How would you say that in English?
Lots of homework to do, to finish.
Yes, to do is the best. To do. We have a lot of homework to do. We have a lot of homework and assignments to do. Now there is the expression to pull something off. To pull something off. That expression exists in English, but we wouldn't say to pull off homework. We wouldn't say to pull off assignments. And also, when you try to use it, you misused it. You said we have a lot of assignments to pull it off. So that it is completely unnecessary. So again, this is another example of a time when you should be using the simple thing that native speakers would say. We would always say to do homework, to do assignments. That's what we would say. In Chinese, you would say 完成, but in English, we would say do. But even if you said to finish, it would be not exactly right, but it would be okay. So again, say the simple thing. Don't try and use a different word, because it's not going to be right. It's going to be weird. It's going to be wrong. Just use the simplest word possible. Okay, let's see. Okay, another one. He said, be with her a company. I really feel the same as she felt. Be with her. So I think what you're saying is 我跟她在一起的时候.
Yeah.
So how would you say that in English?
Just
not be with her.
Be with her.
Yes, good. Yeah. So, for example, when I am with her, I feel whatever. I feel happy. When I'm with her, I feel happy. Something like that. So it's not be with her company. You shouldn't be using a company like this. Most Chinese English students don't know the real meaning of a company. A company means like to go with someone to somewhere, to accompany someone to a place. So anyway, what you should be saying here is when I am with her, I feel whatever. Okay. So Alex, I'm highlighting your bad sentences here, but you also had some good sentences that I'm not highlighting. But what you need to do, two things you need to do. One, stop learning English from whoever you've been learning English from. Learn English from native speakers. Learn English from native speakers, right? Read English that's written by native speakers. Listen to English that's performed by native speakers. Okay, that's number one. Number two, when you're speaking and when you're writing, simplify the language that you're producing. Don't try and produce fancy, amazing language. Say everything as simply as you can. That is how you will get closer to a native speaking level. That is how you will get a better result in IELTS. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Okay. Right. Let's see. So finally we've got to move on to the other topic. So we've got one other topic, which is a job that you would like to do in a foreign country for a short time. A job that you would like to do in a foreign country for a short time. First of all, I want to see everybody's ideas. I want to see lots of people's ideas for this topic, because I've heard a lot of students answer this topic already, and a lot of people are having trouble coming up with ideas. So I want everybody to write me your ideas. So for example, you might write. So you've got to think of an idea for the country, and you've got to think of an idea for the job. So you might write, for example, Germany babysitter. Okay, some people are doing it already. So Elena is saying Polish strawberries. So two problems there, Elena. Polish is not a country. Poland is the country, and strawberries is not a job. I think. Do you mean picking strawberries? Picking strawberries in Poland? I guess somebody's saying picking kiwi fruit in New Zealand. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Somebody's saying a forest ranger in Switzerland. Okay, that's specific. Somebody's saying organizer. I don't know what that is. You didn't say where it was. Brazil drug dealer. Very good. I think that's a bit competitive. It might be hard to get one of those jobs, Lydia. Sorry. Roland is saying journalist, but where? So be specific. You tell me one country and one job. Volunteer project in African countries. Be specific. Africa is not a country, so tell me the country. In a farm, or work on a farm, or in a cafe in Australia. Okay, that's good, but choose one. Is it working on a farm or in a cafe? Choose one. So yeah, picking strawberries. Journalist in the US. Okay, that's fine. And English, so a Chinese teacher in England. That's good. Okay, good. Dry seaweeds. Do you mean picking seaweed in Japan? I guess that's what you mean, picking seaweed, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it seems like a good idea. So you've got to have a specific idea and a specific country. That's a key point for this, for answering this question. Okay, so we've got a lot of different people. So I did promise that I was going to go to one student first, the student who got our competition answer right. Hello, is that Melissa?
Yeah, it is Melissa.
Okay, Melissa, cool. All right, so you're going to be the first one to get a chance to answer this topic. So the topic is describe a job that you would like to do in a foreign country for a short time. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Yes. I'm going to talk about a job that I like to do in another country for a short time. And this job is organizer, or we can also call that tidying expert. This is a job that helps people clean their house up, and also help them to get rid of stuff that they don't need anymore in the future, and also give some advice to organize by their own. And I know this. I'd like to do this job in American, because as far as I know, a lot of Americans they live in a big house, like 2 floors and dozens of rooms, and also Americans tend to live as a family, which means 4 or 5 people in a room, in a house, which means they have a lot of stuff to clean. And I knew this job from a Netflix series I watched 6 months ago called that is tying up with Maria Kondo, I believe that is. And in this series, Maria Kondo create a method to organize your room or your home or your house. It is Calm Marine, I believe that is. And she tells people how to clean, how to organize your own room. And I tried this method in my own room, and I felt so good. I felt I just found such a great pleasure when I clean my room. Okay, I will stop there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Melissa. Okay, thank you. Well done. All right. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, good. So a good idea, and you explained the idea pretty well. So I think just in terms of what the job isn't really an organizer. But you said a tidying expert. That's better. You could say that a tidying expert. You could say maybe a home organizer, or a tidying expert. But if you just say organizer, that could be so many different things that it's not really a job. So a home organizer or a tidying expert, that's probably the job you were talking about. It was a good idea. The logic of your answer was fine. Let's see. Just you said so about Maria Kondo. Yeah. So just you should kind of explain a little bit about who that person is. I know who that person is, but some people won't know who that person is. So you just say something like, she's a Japanese person or a Japanese woman who's famous for helping people to tidy their homes and helping people to get rid of stuff that they don't need, or something like. Just give one sentence to explain who that person is, because a lot of people maybe aren't going to know who she is. Let's see. Your first sentence, you said, I'd like to talk about a job that I like to do. A job that I like to do.
Right?
Exactly. Yes. A job that I'd like to do. Good. Okay. There was then there weren't really any other big mistakes in your answer. There was some good sentences, not many mistakes overall. Just two little pronunciation mistakes. One was, you said about the country, you said in American. In America.
In America. In the U.S. In the United States.
Exactly. America. Yeah. Well, anyway, America is okay. And then a couple of times you said, yeah. So basically, Megwar, sure. America. Megwarin is American.
American. American.
Okay. And then a couple of times you said a Netflix series. So that word always has an S at the end. So it's always a Netflix series. Yeah, exactly. So it's one series, two series, three series. So it's the same. It's like fish. Fish, one fish, two fish, three fish, one sheep, two sheep, three sheep, one series, two series, three series. So it's the same whether it's singular or plural. Okay. But overall, pretty good job, Melissa. Well done. Cool. Okay, right. We've got 7 people waiting, so I'm going to choose a number at random, and I'm going to go with number 6.
Yes. Hi, John.
Hello, Roland.
Yes.
Hi, Roland. Roland, Roland is a boy's name.
Well, I don't care.
Did you know that? All right. Okay. Good for you. All right. So, Roland, when you're ready, you can start telling us about a job that you would like to do in a foreign country for a short time.
Okay. Generally, I would prefer to work as a freelancer so that I can work wherever I want. But if I have to choose a short-time job in a foreign country, I guess I would like to be a journalist in the U.S. First of all, because I already work as a correspondent in a European country, and I also had experience of working as a journalist in China. So I know that the journalism in China and in the West is very different. So I'm really curious about how the foreign journalists work and what kind of procedure they normally experienced for reporting any news stories. I'm sure it's very different, so I'm very curious about that. And why US? Because I think the most important principle of the US in terms of news is the freedom of press. So I really admire that. So I would like to work in such an environment. And also in the US, the media industry is very advanced, and almost all the biggest media groups are there. So I think it would be a good experience for me it would be a good experience for me. And personally, I'm also a person that would like to discover the world and know different people. Though the job would be very challenging, I believe I would really enjoy it. And
thank you. Thank you, Roland. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, pretty good, Roland. A lot of good there, a lot of good sentences. Well done. And so, yeah, you sound like somebody who is very comfortable speaking English. You sound like somebody who has a lot of English-speaking friends, maybe a lot of English-speaking boyfriends or something like that. So you sound very capable and comfortable in English, and you delivered a lot of good sentences there. Well done. And so a couple of, let's see. So I want to share a couple of the good expressions that Roland used. So she said that she already works as a correspondent. Very good word there. She works as a correspondent in Europe. So that basically, like, I'm not sure how to describe it or how it's different from a journalist, but it's kind of like a journalist who's based in a foreign country who writes for a newspaper in another country, usually in their home country. So a lot of these, like in America, there are a lot of Chinese correspondents. So they're basically journalists working in America for Chinese newspapers and for Chinese media sites. So when you're like a journalist in a foreign country working for your own country's media, then you are a correspondent in that country. So that was good, a good expression. And you said about the freedom of the press. That was a good expression as well. And you said, so because the freedom of the press is important in America, you said, I would like to work in such an environment. Very good grammar there. Okay, I would like to work in such an environment. And so that's a very good, a very native-like expression that a lot of native speakers use and that I almost never hear students use. So in such an environment, it's basically so you could say in an environment like that, that would be fine as well. But native speakers would often say in such an environment. And let's see, just one. I'm gonna just highlight one correction. So you said you asked yourself why. So you said why US because something something something. So there's a little bit of a mistake there. Any idea what that mistake is, Roland?
Sorry, could you repeat, please? Hello.
Right. So you said. So basically, you were saying, 为什么美国原因就是 So but what you said was why US? Because something something something. Do you know what the problem is there?
Why the US? Why?
Exactly. The US. So it's always the US. So don't forget the when you're talking about the US, the USA, the UK, the EU, the Philippines, and a few other places like that. Okay, but otherwise, a lot of good sentences, Roland. Pretty good answer overall. Thank you very much. Okay, and let's try another student. Let's see somebody. Oh yeah, I remember Jack. Was it who had his hand up before?
Yes.
Hello, is that Jack?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Jack. Okay, so you've prepared this one. This time. That's good. All right. So, okay. So whenever you're ready, you can start talking, please.
I can start now. When it comes to a job that I would like to do in foreign countries for a short time, I think I will talk about the picking kiwi food in New Zealand. In fact, picking kiwi food is not really good job, but you know, they could provide some money for me, and you know, after the 2 months working, and I could get some free time to travel along New Zealand. I could argue that things with the immigration officer and to ask them like I can get 2 months extra like traveling New Zealand. I like New Zealand because for 2 reasons. First is New Zealand is have a very spectacular natural landscape. You know, they have a lot of volcanoes and volcano craters. They have a lot of wonderful views. And besides that, you know, New Zealand also have a very big, have a lot of forests. Then I will talk the second reason. The second reason is possibly is the Kiwis, the New Zealanders are hospitable. I remember at the first time I went to New Zealand, at that time I carried 2 large suitcases, and a New Zealand couple just helped me. They just drive me to the other place.
Thank you, Jack. Jack. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, okay. Okay, Jack, pretty good. Some good sentences there. So your fluency isn't fantastic. You need to improve your fluency a little bit because often when you get into the middle of a sentence, you have a hard time finishing the sentence, and there's a few kind of gaps or spaces in your speech. So you'll need to work on your fluency a bit more. But you had some good sentences. You had some good vocabulary. Just there's a few things. There were a few times in your answer where you were using words that you weren't comfortable with the pronunciation of, or you weren't comfortable with the pronunciation of those words. And so you were having to slow down to try and remember the pronunciation, and it was taking you a long time to get those words out. And then when they come out, you were making some pronunciation mistakes. So I'm gonna practice a few pronunciations with you now. So the first one is this one. So this is a very important one if you're going to talk about this story. So do you know how to say? Can you try saying this again?
Kiwi fruits. Kiwi fruits.
Yeah, that's a bit better. Yeah, that's a bit better. Yeah, because what you were saying earlier was more like kiwi food, something like that. Kiwi food sounded a bit more like that. So it's a bit better now. So anyway, the right way to say it is kiwi fruit. Kiwi fruit. Kiwi fruit. So be careful with the T at the end of fruit. Fruit. Not fruit, but fruit. So try again.
Kiwi fruit. Kiwi fruit.
That's better. Okay, yeah, that's better. All right. The next one is this one.
Yeah, spectacular natural landscape. A spectacular.
Okay, yeah. So each of these words is a little bit hard for you. Yeah. Okay, so let me try and say that. So it's spectacular natural landscape. Spectacular natural landscape. The problem for you, Jack, is I think all 3 of those words are a little bit unfamiliar. So trying to say them all together is a little bit difficult now. So I'd say try and say something a bit more simple. Like, for example, New Zealand has a lot of nice... has a lot of nice scenery. New Zealand has a lot of nice scenery. So that's a simpler way to say that idea, and it's easier to pronounce, and you're probably not going to make a mistake if you say that. And it basically expresses the same idea. And so like saying spectacular, natural, and landscape together, it's just a little bit too difficult for you to pronounce that accurately at the moment. So say something a bit simpler, like, for example, New Zealand has a lot of nice scenery, or New Zealand has a lot of nice landscape, and or there are a lot of nice views in New Zealand, or something like that. And then one other one was about volcano. So you said it has a lot of volcanoes, and then volcano something. I didn't hear the next word correctly.
Volcano craters. Volcano craters.
I don't know what that is. Do you know how to spell it? And maybe you can write it.
Craters.
Okay, craters. Craters.
Crater.
No, you're not saying that anything near what the right pronunciation. So it's craters.
Craters. Okay.
So yeah, craters.
Craters. Oh, craters.
That's a bit better. But anyway, Jack, there's no need to say craters. Just say New Zealand has a lot of volcanoes. That's enough. There's no need to say craters. So, Jack, I think a little bit of a problem for you maybe is you're learning a lot. I think you're probably learning a lot of these words when you've never kind of heard them before, or you haven't heard them much before, and you're trying to immediately use them. And that's not really a good idea. It's better to learn words so that you understand them. And then when you understand them and you listen to them you do a lot of listening every day and you hear that word many times in your listening, then you kind of really get used to the word and you really know how to use the word. And then you should start to use the word when you are speaking. So most of the time you shouldn't just like learn a word today and try to use it tomorrow. Generally you're going to not use it correctly and you're going to make speaking mistakes. It's better to learn a word today, then do lots of listening for the next 3 months, and when you hear that word like 5 or 7 or 10 times, then one day when you're speaking, the word will just come out and you'll use it correctly because you've heard it a lot of times. All right, so it's better to, if you're learning words and expressions, learn them so that you understand them. And then through doing a lot of listening practice and a lot of reading practice, you'll get to really know and really understand the word and really be familiar with the word. And then try to use the word. Is that clear?
Yeah, I just think they are lungs.
你理解我的意思吗？
Yeah, I say I understand. I just think they are lungs. Then it's easy to use.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I just say that because
all right.
the words.
Okay. Thanks, Jack. All right. Long word. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. So let's do. We've probably got to go on to part 3 now because we've. It's already like 8:30 in China now. So let's go on to part 3. So you guys who have your hands up, you can keep your hands up and you can do part 3 instead of doing part 2. No problem. So let's see. So for part 3, again, we have 2 topics. So our first topic for part 2 was about a person who is energetic. So then these part 3 questions are all going to be about physical work, about doing physical labor or physical work. So for this, I'm going to start with, let me start with Francis.
Hello.
Hello again, Francis.
Hello, John.
Okay, so some part 3 questions for you now, and they're all about physical labor. All right, so let me see. All right. So what kinds of jobs require people to do a lot of physical work usually?
Well, apparently, I think blue workers, they need to do a lot of physical work. As for blue workers, I think there are a lot of job applications like a worker in a construction site or in a quarry. They need to move the bricks from one way to another, and they need to climb to somewhere very high to do the physical work. Apart from the blue worker, I think white collar, they also need to do a lot of physical work. For example, the teachers, they need to stand on the stage and keep talking about the textbook or other things. So it's kind of a hard physical work.
Thank you. And do people who do physical work usually get paid more than people who do mentally demanding work?
Sorry, because of the internet, I can't hear you clearly. Could you please ask me again?
No problem. Yes, no problem.
Okay.
And so, do people who do physical work usually get paid more than people who do mentally demanding work?
Well, actually, I think in China, it is not like that, because nowadays more and more people they are pursuing of the mental work because of the high salary, and as for the physical works, normally those low educated people would be reduced to do that kind of job, because it is very easy for us to learn how to do the physics job. That's why they got lower salary than the mental work in China. But I've heard that in the Western world, those two kind of jobs are get paid equally. But in China, it is the mental work that gains higher.
So, do you think that the two types of work should be paid equally?
For sure, my answer would be yes, because we can't make discriminations on what kind of work you are doing. I think all workers need to gain the respect from others and obtain the same payment as well, because they are all
So for example, do you think that somebody who cleans toilets in a school should be paid the same as somebody who is a highly trained rocket scientist?
I think the wage on hours can be different, but overall they should receive the relatively payment, not only by the wage but also the subsidy from the government. In that way, the community, the society would be more harmony. Because the income gap is widening, there are more and more uncertainty and social problems to occur. So they should be paid equally, not only from the employee but also from the government.
Thank you. Okay, thanks, Francis. Okay, thank you. So, all right. So, let's see. So, some better answers and some not so good answers. So, let's see. Your last two answers, the logic of your last two answers wasn't great, and it didn't really add up so much. The first two answers, let's see. So there was actually, to be honest, all the answers had some problems that I need to talk about.
Okay.
So the first question was, what kinds of jobs require people to do a lot of physical work? And you said, I think you said, apparently blue workers need something. Apparently blue workers need. So there's two big vocabulary mistakes here. First of all, apparently. What do you think apparently means?
Obviously.
No, most people think that apparently and obviously are the same, but they're not. If you look it up in the dictionary, if you look up like Ming Xian or Xianran in the dictionary, you might see obviously and you might see apparently, both of them there together. But apparently has a completely different usage from obviously most of the time in English. Apparently generally means like, for example, 我好像听说过什么什么. For example, let's see, 明天的比赛几点钟开始？我不一定，好像7点钟，但是我不一定。Something like that. That would be, what time does the match start tomorrow? Apparently it's like 7, but I'm not sure. Something like that. So that's when we use apparently. It's very different from obviously, right? So
okay.
be careful with apparently. Then blue workers. There's no such thing as blue workers. Does any? Yeah, Julia knows what you're trying to say there.
I want to say blue collar workers.
It should be blue collar workers. Blue collar workers.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you, in the same answer, you said white collars. In English, there's also no such thing. Well, there is white collars, but that's something that you find on your shirt. On a shirt, you have a white collar. What's the, like, how would you say biling when you're talking about nache renouet? How would you say that?
People engaged in the work.
So if it's blue collar workers, then
white collar workers. Blue collar
white collar workers. White collar workers. Don't forget. So remember, they're both 3-letter expressions. They're both three-letter expressions, and in English, you need all those three words. If you're going to use this expression, it's always blue-collar workers or white-collar workers. You always need the three words. You can't say blue collars, you can't say blue workers, you can't say white collars, you can't say white workers. Well, that is a different name, actually. And so it's blue-collar workers or white-collar workers. Elena is saying gold-collar worker. I've never heard, maybe that's a modern expression that I've never heard of. I don't know what that is, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And let's see. Question number 2. So the main logical problem here was, let's see, the question was, do people who do physical work usually get paid more than people who do mentally demanding work? You said in China, something, in China. So never say in China unless the question is about China. So if the question says in your country, do people who do physical work get paid more than people who do mentally demanding work? Then you can say in China. But this question was not about China. If the question doesn't say in China, don't talk about China. If the question doesn't say in your country or in China, just talk about the world in general. So don't use China as an example, all right?
Because I don't know how to express, how to say it in general. Because you know, in China, it always the white collar workers and higher than the blue collar workers. But I heard in German or the Western country, the blue collar workers earn higher salaries. So I don't know how to give a general answer. And you said don't use it depends on. So at first I want to say it depends on which country, and then I realized I shouldn't say it depends.
Right. Well, okay. Let me tell you the true answer. Let me tell you the real answer. The real answer is that in the world in general, people who do mentally demanding work earn more than people who do physically demanding work. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Even in Germany, even in any of those countries you mentioned, the people who do mentally demanding work generally earn more than people who do physically demanding work. Why? Well, it's because that it's much easier to train someone to do physically demanding work than mentally demanding work. It's much easier to learn the skills required to do physically demanding work than mentally demanding work. So therefore, people who do mentally demanding work generally earn more than people who do physically demanding work. So this is a question where there kind of is a correct answer. There is a right answer and a wrong answer. And the right answer is that just in truth, people who do physically demanding work earn less than people who do mentally demanding work. But anyway, even if you didn't know that, you still have to kind of say what you know or say what you think, say what you assume without talking about China, because the question was not about China. So you've got to say, well, I think that generally they earn the same, or I think that generally people who do mentally demanding work earn more, or whatever. But you've got to give your best guess without mentioning China. You've got to answer the question that was asked, and the question that was asked was not about China. Okay, on to question 3. So again, this is kind of an easy question. So it was. Do you think that people who do physically demanding work should earn the same amount that people who do mentally demanding work earn? And
actually, this question I
you kind of said that they should earn the same, and government should pay people. Yep.
Actually, at first I want to say they should be treated equally, but then you asked me should a cleaner and the same as the professor, and then I realized, I did the wrong answer. But I don't know if I whether I should change my answer or just keep talking about my wrong answer. So.
I understand. Well, what do you think now? What's your actual opinion?
Well, to be honest, I think the mental work.
What's your real opinion?
My real.
We've got a little bit of a bad connection there, Francis. So I'm going to have to. Yeah, I couldn't hear you, so I had to turn off your mic. But anyway, Francis. So in answer to your question, just generally give your real opinion. So even let's say you give out, you say an answer and you realize, oh shit, I don't really think that actually. That's not true. I guess you could say something like, well, then let's say the examiner challenges you. You could say, well, I guess now that I think about it, probably a rocket scientist should earn more than a janitor or a person that cleans toilets because the rocket scientist has a lot of education, and the rocket scientist knows a lot of things that not many people in the world know. So the rocket scientist has a lot of valuable information that he or she deserves to get paid for, or something like that. So even if you say one thing and then you realize, oh, well, actually, I don't really think that, I guess you could say, well, now that I think about it a little bit more, I suppose that, or whatever. So it's best to just always give your real opinion. Even if your opinion changes as you start talking, then you can, just like you would in Chinese, you could say like, well, now that I've thought about it a little bit more, I guess, whatever, I guess that you should do this, or I guess that it should be like that. Okay, I'm going to do one more person for these group of questions. So let me try Eve. Hello, Eve. I can't hear you at the moment. Hello, Eve. Can you hear me? 大家可以听到 Eve 吗？如果听到她的话，可以打一个1；如果听不到她，打一个0。还是也是听不到我 ？OK， 然后 Sherry 听到我 ，Yeah， 没人，所以 Eve 我不知道你的麦克风是否有问题。Sorry. So let's try Lexi.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, Lexi. Hi. Okay, cool. We can hear you. All right. All right, Lexi. So some questions for you about the same topic. Some different questions.
Okay.
So what are the advantages of doing a job that requires a lot of physical work?
The advantages. I think a job that requires physical work. One of the good advantages is that you don't have to have too much pressure, because all the physical works are relatively easier than work requires your intelligence, and you don't have to be stressed out too much. And I think that will leave you a good mood, a good mindset, and
Okay, thank you. All right. So do you think that most physical work will be done by machines in the future?
I think so. We have already witnessed a lot of labor work has been taken place by the intelligent machines. As I know some of the translation work, we now have like Google Translator by use. In the past days, we have translate interpreters, and now like I know that there are some restaurants have like robot waiters and waitresses. They are doing this. And they are doing that job really amazingly. This is what I have never imagined, but it's happening right now. So I think that this trend is going to go further in the future.
Yeah, I think it probably will. So do you think that the advantages of this trend outweigh the disadvantages?
I think it's not a good trend, because there are still a lot of people are struggling with the poverty. They don't have the chance to have better education. That is the truth that we cannot solve in a short time. And even though all the people in this world can get good education, I don't think everyone can like reach the same level of the like in the professional realm. And somehow some people would like to do some physical work. It's their interest, or they are willing to do those physical work, like barber or like hairdresser, or some. I think there are still a lot of good jobs that requires people to do. And I would like to have like more face-to-face contact with them.
Okay, thanks, Lexi. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Lexi. Vocabulary. So you had good vocabulary. You had some words there that I don't hear a lot of students use that you used very well, and your answers were pretty intelligent and pretty logical. So those are the good things. The bad things, so especially at the beginning, you weren't speaking very fluently, and you weren't producing a lot of language. You were like saying 3 words and then stopping and for a long time, and then saying another 3 words and then stopping again. And so fluency seems like something that you have to work on. Although in the last questions, your fluency got a little bit better, and you were able to produce some more language in the last couple of questions. So that so it's still something that you probably do need to work on. Okay, and you had some, as I said, you had some good phrases and some good words, and like about the advantages of physical work. So you said you don't have to be stressed out. Very good. That was a good expression. Well done. There's one mistake that you made a couple of times. One time you said physical works, and another time you said those physical work.
Oh.
Do you know what the problem is here?
It's uncountable.
It is uncountable. So what if we want to say 工作 and we want to use a countable noun? How could we say that?
Jobs.
Exactly. Yeah. Jobs. So physical jobs. Those physical jobs. Yeah. Whereas if you're using the word work, remember that it's uncountable. So it's physical work or that kind of physical work or something like that. Okay. You said work. Some kind of work has been taken place by the machines. Has been taken place by the machines. So you're getting mixed up here. It's not to be taken place by. It's to
replaced by.
Does anybody know? Say, yeah. Yes, Lexi. Say that again.
By.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. It has been replaced by machines. It has been replaced by machines. So if you want to use to take the place of, then would be like something like robots are taking the place of human workers. So robots have taken the place of human workers. Something like that.
No.
Okay. And then finally, all right. Okay. So then finally, he said there are some restaurants have some robots.
There are some robots in the restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, or just some restaurants have some robots. Some restaurants have some robots. So, I know you're trying to say 有一些餐厅, so that's just not. It's not there are some. It's just some. Some restaurants have some robots.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the main points. All right, thanks, Alexi. Thank you. Cool. Okay. Cool. Right. So let's see. So we'll do the other topic now, and I'm going to get maybe 2 more students. So the next questions, they're all about our third topic. The topic was working in foreign countries. So let's see. Let's try Don first. Yeah, sorry, Don. It's taken some time for your microphone to come on, but it should come on in a second. Yeah, 我不知道为什么，但是我开了一些学生的麦克风，他马上就开，但是其他学生等好久，然后已经取消了，不会。Sorry, Don, I don't know why 我开不了你的麦克风。So let's see. I think all the other students have had a chance, so I'm not sure which one to pick. I'll pick Lydia first. Hello, Lydia.
Hi.
Hello, Lydia. Hi. Okay. Hi, Lydia. Okay, cool. Right, so some questions for you about working in foreign countries.
I'm ready.
And so what kinds of jobs are easiest? Cool. What kinds of jobs are easiest for young people to find in foreign countries?
Well, let me think about it. I mean, for young people, they could teach others their own language, their mother languages. I think this is the best way for them to find a job in the foreign countries. First of all, they don't have so much life experiences and working experience. So for them to find some really complex job is impossible. Secondly, I think young people they don't have so many skills, so many working skills. So I think language teaching might be better. Thirdly, young people are always good at learning something. In the process of teaching others their own language, he could also know other languages in return, and he could give others some advices on how he remembers those foreign words, the words of the foreign languages. So that's all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Is it good for young people to have the experience of working abroad?
Actually, from as far as I am concerned, I think yes. Young people, when they go abroad to study, they could broaden their horizons. Oh, I know your examiners hate this sentence. They could broaden the horizons. They could learn the foreign languages better, and they could make new friends to know more about other cultures. For example, myself, I actually, my major is French. So last year when I graduate from university, I go to Africa for work. And I have to say I learned a lot. Although I was working in a developing country. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
But I have to say I learned a lot.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. All right. And so, at what age do you think, what age do you think somebody should be before they go abroad and find a job?
I think 18. 18, yes, because they should be an adult. If they go, anything wrong? Anything wrong with you? Or
no, please go ahead. Explain.
Okay. Actually, I think at the age of 18, that's the point. That's the point. Because if they are too young, they could not think about everything well, and they don't know how to protect themselves. And after 18, they are adults. They know what to do. They know how to be responsible for themselves. And after 18, they could do more things, because there are many rules for the adolescents. So I think after they become adults, that's better. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Lydia. Okay. Thank you. All right, cool. All right. Okay, so pretty good, Lydia. Pretty good. Mostly logical answers, especially your first answer and your last answer. They were both pretty logical. So overall, pretty good. Some good expressions. For example, in the first answer, you said they could teach. They could teach others their own languages. Very good. Because in that situation, most students or most IELTS candidates would say they could teach others Chinese, because they'd be thinking about it like the question was about China. But of course, the question wasn't about China. It was just about general world in general. So well done. You expressed that very well. they could teach others their own languages. Well done. So that was a good expression. You control the grammar of that very well, and so that was good. Let's see. And you had some good expressions in all the answers, but also some mistakes that I want to highlight. So one in your first answer, so you had a lot of good sentences in this answer, but towards the end you continually used the word he. You said he could also know the other language on how he remember the words and these kind of things. So it's not he, because like the question wasn't about boys or it wasn't about men. They, exactly. Yes. They could give others a. Yes. They could also know how to learn another language or whatever. Yeah, not he. Well done. And then you said some advices. So it should be
advice. It's uncountable now.
Exactly. It is uncountable. Yeah. Okay. Right. And then the same mistake we had last week. So you said your examiners hate that.
So
that's like 你的考官.
I'm so sorry.
你的考官.
Yeah, you.
我没有什么考官.
You examiners don't. But 我想问一下, if I want to say broaden my horizon, exactly. But you don't like it, so what else can I say?
Good question. So does anybody know? What else can we say? So in Chinese, you have different expressions that you use a lot, especially like 扩大眼界, that are used a lot in Chinese. And then probably the most common translation and even the most accurate translation is broaden your horizons. But the problem is we don't use that expression very much in English. We only use it to talk about very, very kind of special, unique experiences. So Frances has been reading my articles and watching my videos, I think, so she knows. Know more about the world, or learn more about the world is probably the best way to say that. So, for example, by going and working in another country, they can learn more about the world. That would be a really good way to say that. So I think that's probably the best thing to say when you want to express the idea of like 扩大眼界, just to say that you can know more about the world or you can learn more about the world. Is that clear?
Yes, thanks a lot.
Okay, you're welcome. Let's see. You said after I graduated, I go to Africa.
Yes.
Grammar, tenses.
After I graduated from university, I went to Africa.
Went to, exactly. Not go to. I went to Africa.
Yes.
And then the third answer was pretty good. What I liked about your third answer is you gave a specific age. So a lot of people would say, like, oh, whatever age they think they want to do it is okay. Whereas you gave a specific age, you said 18, and you gave the reasons why you think 18 is a good age. So that's good. So when you're asked a question about, like, at what age should somebody do something, in your opinion, always give a specific age, or, you know, at least an age range, and you give a specific age. You give 18. So that was good. All right. So that's all for you, Linda. Thank you. Good job.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So we'll do one more student, and I'm going to go back to Ruby again. So. Right,
hi,
Ruby, hello again. All right, so let's see. Right, so some questions for you, Ruby, about working in foreign countries. So why do some people not want to work abroad?
Well, I guess maybe nowadays the COVID-19 is quite serious in some foreign country. I guess it is one of the reasons, because some people's parents don't want to let them in some not very familiar circumstance, but there's some other reasons. I mean, some people he doesn't really good at English, and or maybe some foreign country they don't just know the language very well. If they go to a different circumstance, they may have some language barrier, and also the homesickness. They go to a different circumstance. They have to adjust to the foreign cultures and some customs. They have.
Do you think that everybody should live abroad for a certain period of their lives?
I don't think everyone have to do this, But if someone they really want to just experience a different culture and different country, they could always do this. But for some people who they are not very rich and maybe they live in the small village for the whole life, they just maybe they have to make themselves live a better life, not consider of getting abroad. But for those who want to just go to a different country to work or go abroad just like this, they can earn more money, I guess, if they do some like manual work or just like some job there in other countries they are really short of. They need those juniors to do this. But in my country,
thank you. And so in your country, are a lot of young people very keen on getting jobs in international companies?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some young people, they got to know the international country since they're very young. So they just have the experience about this. They are really interested in maybe they have watching the TV about working in an international company that's very distant, and sometimes they will earn more money just compared to some maybe the local company in my country. And also they can just they can meet some foreigners when doing their job, and this opportunity they can't attempt when just in some local company. And also they can learn the different country by working with those guys. Maybe they couldn't have the opportunity to study abroad or maybe work abroad, but they work in those international companies. They can got to know this, and maybe it can also just like they work abroad because they work at the same guys which are foreigners.
Okay, thank you, Ruby. All right. Okay, so let's see. So pretty good answer to the third question. Some good language in all of your answers, but there was a couple of logical mistakes in your first couple of answers. So your first question was, why do some people not want to work abroad? Why do some people not want to work abroad? And you started talking about COVID-19, but it doesn't really, maybe it has something to do with COVID-19 before, but still, like 2 years ago, there were also a lot of people in the world who didn't want to work abroad. So that's like a very recent reason, but there's some more like fundamental reasons why people don't want to work abroad that have nothing to do with COVID-19. And so I think you were probably thinking about this question from a Chinese perspective, because you also said he doesn't really good at English. So what you mean is, if they are not good at English, but why English? I mean, what if you go to Vietnam to work? Then you know, it's a question of whether you're good at Vietnamese. It's not really about English. Yeah, so remember, this is not like why do some Chinese people not want to work abroad. It's why do some people not want to work abroad. So it's not Chinese people, it's just people in general. Why do they not want to work in other countries? Let's see. So then the logical problem with the second question was, so the question was, do you think that everybody should work abroad? I think it was, do you think everybody should live abroad at some point in their lives? And you didn't really answer that question. You said, you mainly talked about, yes, some people should do that if they want to, but that wasn't the question. That wasn't the question. The question was, should everybody do it? And that answer is yes or no. And your answer is no. So that's fine. You can say no, they shouldn't. But then if your answer is no, you should give the reasons why some people shouldn't do that. There's no need to talk about why some people should do that, because we know some people should do that. That's not the question. The question is, should everybody do it? And that's either yes or no. Your opinion is no. So then what you have to explain is why. Why do some people, why should some people not live abroad? You don't need to explain why some people should live abroad. That's obvious. That's not part of the question. Of course, some people should live abroad, but the question is, should everybody do it? Yes or no? So your answer wasn't really logical there. Do you get my meaning?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And then the third question, the third answer, that was a bit better.
John.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
I have to say why everyone shouldn't do this. So what
So-
example can I give? Because I also thought about some people's example because they live in poor village like that. Every people.
Yeah, but you were talking about why some people should do it. You were giving examples of, oh, well, some people should do it because they can, whatever, they can do certain work in other countries and that's good. But of course, some people should do it. We know some people should do it. That's not the question. The question is, should everybody do it or not? So if you say, no, not everybody should do it, you should just give examples of why. Why should some people not do it?
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've gotten that through, but yeah, that's the best way I can explain it. Let's see. The last question. A couple of mistaken expressions here. So let's see. One pronunciation thing. This one. How would you say that?
They are really interested in.
Good, yeah, because when you said it earlier, it sounded like interesting. It sounded like that they are really interesting in. So be careful with the ending of the word. So they are really interested in.
Interested.
And then another time you said they can. We were talking about people working in international companies. You said they can learn the different country. They can learn the different country.
Culture.
You don't really learn a culture. You learn a language. You can't really learn a culture. Anybody know how she could say that?
Customs.
Lydia saying no about. Not really. Get to know. That's a bit better. Okay, that's a bit better. I think the best way would be, well, it's an experience. It's not really what she means. I think she means learn about different countries or learn about different cultures. So that you learn about a country, you learn about a culture, you learn a language, you learn a subject, but you learn about a country or learn about a culture. All right. Yeah. So those are the main points, Ruby. Those are the main things. So thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much all we have time for today's class. So we've gone on for more than 2 hours, so very long class again today. All right. 所以谢谢大家参加今天的课，特别是那些举手的人。如果你举手了，然后我没有开了你的麦克风，那对不起，你应该这个礼拜四再来，因为这个礼拜四我们也做另外一个准备雅思口语的直播，也是北京时间7点钟。OK， 下课之前我也要提醒大家，一些事情。第一个就是我给一些参加今天的课的学生反馈的时候，我推荐他们用更简单的英语表达，然后这个很重要。然后很多学生一点都不理解这个概念，所以如果你不知道你说话的时候或者你写作的时候应该用什么类型的词汇，那我真的推荐你上我的9 vocabulary 课程，因为你上完这个课程之后，你就会知道英语母语人用的词汇是什么类型的，然后你应该大概知道如何把你的词汇，你使用的词汇更加接近一个英语母语人，然后你会知道什么真的是高级的单词，什么是你不应该用的单词。然后我在那个课程就解释3个类型的错误。第一个类型的错误就是 random errors。random errors 就是考官或者老师不是特别在乎的错误，然后不是特别重要的。任何几乎所有外语学生都犯一些 random errors。第二个是常见错误，然后考官和老师都不喜欢这样的错误。然后如果你经常跟非母语人来自同样的国家的非母语人说话，你会经常听到这些常见错误。所以所有学生应该尽量避免那些常见错误。在学习英语的中国人中，最常见的错误包括 relax yourself, and accompany with someone, and contact with someone， 还有很多，所以你也应该尽量避免那些就是常见错误，frequently occurring errors。然后第三种类型就是 try hard errors， 然后这是最糟糕的，你最要避免的就是这些 try hard errors， 这些错误比常见错误再严重，然后这就是考官特别讨厌的。try hard errors 就是你可以用一个很简单的单词的时候，你勉强用一个你所谓很高级的词汇，然后也是一个母语人永远不会用的，或者很少用的，所以那就是最重要，你最要避免的。所以如果你上这个 9 vocabulary 课程，你可以理解什么是你可以理解如何培养你的词汇量，如何首先把你的输入词汇量，你的被动词汇量提高到雅思9分的雅思输入，就是输入部分，口语听力和阅读9分，然后你做完这个之后，你可以很快就培养你的主动词汇量，然后你的主动词汇量提高以后，你的口语、你的写作会提高很快，然后后来你可以达到口语和写作9分，那个会需要相对长一点的时间，那个会需要也许至少2年。也许3年，也许4年的时间，但是任何人都可以达到9分的阅读、9分的听力、9分的口语和9分的写作。然后 ，OK， 应该在2年之内达到阅读和听力9分，然后口语和写作，如果你从0开始，也许会需要4年的时间，但是任何人都可以做。但是你真的应该理解如何正确的培养你的词汇量，然后在那个课程我就解释如何做。其他我们也有我们的小组课，所以小组课已经订满到10月27号，然后好像只有一个位置，现在只有一个位置，从10月27号开始，你可以上6节或者12节跟我2个或者3个其他学生在一起的小组课，也可以，所以欢迎大家跟我一起每个礼拜2次练习你的英语口语，然后也有作业，所以一共加上这些免费的直播，你应该会有每个礼拜6天可以跟我一起练习口语。Okay, that's all for today's class. Thank you guys, and see you guys again on Thursday at the same time. Bye bye. Thanks a lot.